Why did Worf change his hair color?
I have no idea.
It was a good day to die.
Shut up, Wesley.
Oh dear, that is atrocious.
Yeah, it's a whole page of just fan-submitted jokes on the StarTrek.com site. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but...
That is awful. That is the epitome of crap.
I'm glad you think so. Good thing it wasn't my actual joke.
Yeah, that would have been even worse.
Well, welcome back to another episode of The Final Frontier, a Treksphere podcast. I'm Adam Mullen, and today I have Treksphere creator kind of guy, the man in charge, James Hams. Welcome, James.
Thanks for having me.
And unfortunately, Bill is not with us, meaning he was unavailable, not that he's dead.
Yeah, that's like, you don't want to be saying something.
So I'm gonna have to do all the talking. Hopefully you can help me with that, James.
Yeah. No worries about that.
Well, shall we just get right into it?
Okay.
All right. Well, so James, I want to know all about you. We've talked for so long on the interwebs, but this is my first time hearing your voice, and I want to get to know you and why you love Star Trek so much, why you have a whole website dedicated to the Star Trek fan community.
Well, like anyone, that likes Star Trek, I'm a Star Trek fan. First Star Trek film episode sort of thing I ever watched was Search for Spock. And then it just started, I don't know what it was, I remember being asked by my parents if I wanted to buy something. Back in the day in the UK, we used to have a store called Woolworths, and I remember just randomly picking it up, and ever since then, I've collected models, books, DVDs, VHS. I won't go as far as saying, I uniforms and dress up or anything like that, but I'm what I probably class as a medium level fan. I wouldn't say I'm right up there with the people that design their own ships and stuff like that, but no, there's just something about Star Trek. I guess it's just because it makes you want to hope for the best and aim for something better than the crap that's going on in the world at the moment. And
so what about Star Trek 3, the search for Spock, did you like?
Back then, I think it was probably, I don't know. I just remember that being the very first thing that got me into the franchise. It was literally a case of I just picked it up off the shelf. I don't really know how it grew from then. I mean, bit of an odd one as well, the fact that it was number 3 and I didn't really start, with the motion picture or anything like that. It was just that. And then, I can remember, as well, when the pilot for Voyager was released, back in 95, I think that was. I can remember renting that from Blockbuster and just watching it over and over again.
So which is your favorite series?
You see, it depends on my mood. Well, I kind of I've watched TNG to death, and whereas I used to binge watch that quite a lot, just because it's something easy to have on in the background. Now it's kind of, I'll watch an old episode here and there, or if it's on TV, I'll watch it. But I have to say, it does purely depend on my mood. I've recently just binge watched Enterprise, which I know is a touchy subject with so many people, especially that awful series finale. No, it's just there's a good fan edit online somewhere where they've completely cut out all the Riker and Troy bits. And to be perfectly honest with you, yeah, that's it, even though it's only like 20 minutes long, and the way they've edited it, it's kind of a better wrap up and a better story than all the crap.
So I take it you didn't actually like the episode. These are the voyages.
No, not really.
I actually did like it. I think, yeah, there could have been something better, but I still enjoyed it. I liked the series as a whole, but I totally get why people give it a bad rap.
I think the thing is, it's like when you go from, I think is it Terra Prime?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go from an episode like Terra Prime, which is an amazing episode, to these other voyages. You're just kind of like, oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, Demons and Terra Prime were a good two-parter. Yeah.
I mean, season 4 of Enterprise in itself is kind of when the show found its footing, I found. You know, I mean, it kind of, Series 1, you know, some good episodes in there. Series 2, again, I have to admit, my favourite episode is Regeneration in Series 2. It's, you know, the Borg one. Series 3, I liked, and there's some good episodes in that, but then there's also some really atrocious acting in it as well. But no, Series 4 onwards, from Stormfront to Terra Prime, you know, yeah, there are 1 or 2 questionable episodes in that series, but on a whole, Series 4 is when Enterprise really found its footing, and, you know, unfortunately it was cancelled with that god-awful series finale.
It definitely should have been picked up for another season. It would have been fun to see the Romulan Wars be played out.
Yeah, there's that as well, and the fact that Series 5 was supposed to have the redesign of the NX-01, which I thought, you know, when I first saw the redesign, I was just like, oh, that is a perfect progression from the NX-01 through to, you know, the TOS Connie, which I can't stand that anyway. I find it, there's something about it, and I don't know whether it's because, obviously, I started with the Search for Spock, so it's a case of, you know, I was always someone who really loved the refit version of Connie. But no, there's just something about it, or it might be where, when I was younger, you know, you saw TOS on the TV and you just thought, you know, questionable acting, and then you've got the Shatner, you know, it's just, you've got Shatner and, you know, that sort of thing that you just, he's good in the films, but when you watch the series, I just can't. There's a few episodes of TOS that I can watch. I've recently watched City on the Edge of Forever. And before that, there was the one with the Romulans. Oh, God, what's it called?
Terror?
That's it. See, so it shows how much I watch TOS. I don't. Yeah, I mean, you know, you've got Space Seed and stuff like that, which, you know, some really good, strong episodes in it, but the rest of it, I can't even have it on in the background. That's how much I really do not like TOS.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about Discovery, then?
You see, Discovery I love. Now, I know there's going to be people out there, oh, Discovery, oh, it's crap, oh. But the thing is, we're in 2017 when it launched, we're now in 2018. If you tried to do something that was pretty much a carbon copy of TOS, yeah, you'd get the hardcore fans that love it, but you'd also get the fans that are just like, yeah, this is crap. I mean, I can't even watch Series 1 or 2 and some of Series 3 of TNG without thinking, God, this is really dated. So, you know, yeah, there will always be a place in my heart for, you know, the original series and, you know, the early TNGs and stuff like that. But then, you know, when you compare it to, like, some of the modern-day sci-fis and stuff like that, and we're not talking about reboot sci-fis either, we're talking about things like, have you seen the series Expanse, which is I watch on Netflix because it's in the UK, but yeah. So you've got that, which, you know, even when you try and compare that to some of the, you know, the really older stuff, you know, it's different, But, the technology in it and stuff like that isn't, like super Star Trek. It's, pretty much what we'd be going to space with today sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you compare that to some of the... I don't know whether it's just the VFX or whatever, but shows like that hold their own. And, 50 years' time, people will be watching it thinking, oh, my God, this looks dated. But, you try... For love of the series, as people do, it would have literally lucky to have been picked up and aired, I would think, if they tried to do a carbon copy of TOS in this day and age.
Yep. Yeah. I think Discovery's found it has a good balance of hints and callbacks to the original series in terms of aesthetics, but it's definitely very modern, and that's nice to see.
But I mean, there's some nice, like you said, throwbacks. There's some nice, also the fact that you can see progressions of, if you look at the Enterprise phaser rifle, say, the Mako one, you can see that's clearly been incorporated into the Discovery rifle.
Mm-hmm.
You can also see the hand phaser, the Type 2, pistol phaser. You can see how that's gone from the phase pistol into Discovery, and you can also see elements of how it's, it's going to lead into TOS. So, I mean, if people just took off, those disgruntled glasses and actually bothered to watch, and actually pick up on these things, because, I'm not mad about certain aspects. Yes, I don't like the look of the new Klingons. When I first watched it, I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to enjoy this. But as the series progressed, they kind of like found their own identity. You didn't actually keep thinking to yourself, oh, well, they don't look like TOS. Oh, they don't look like TNG, Voyager, DS9, how they were looked in it. They had their own identity, and you could identify them as Klingons, but with a different take. I mean, you look at the animal kingdom on, on Earth, things are related, but they all look different. It's like, arachnids don't all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all arachnids, and they're all, So that's kind of the way I look at how the Klingons are. And I mean, even the human race is completely different. I mean, I don't look anything like someone that's from the Middle East or from Asia or, India, that sort of thing. But we all kind of look the same. Does that make sense?
So it's infinite diversity in infinite combinations.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, I remember way back when DS9 launched, I remember reading things, comments and stuff, like not so much social media because obviously, it wasn't around then. But, people didn't like it because it had a black commander. Didn't like it because it was on a space station and not a starship. And then when we, went into Voyager, no wonder it's lost because it's got a woman as its captain. Oh, she's crap. And, just little things like that. You just think to yourself, are Star Trek fans ever happy? And I think that's one of the main reasons, behind why I started the website sort of thing. Not only, there are other reasons as well, but just to give people a platform. Instead of me just, starting up a website with a blog and writing 10,000 words here or, a never-ending blog series or whatever, my main focus is to give the fans a voice, which is why I encourage guest authors. And, I've expanded the team from just me to, I think there's 14 of us now, all working, in our own way to, on the site and stuff like that. But it is just important that people get a voice instead of it being, you can go into a Star Trek group on Facebook and within 5 minutes you just, I can't read any more of this. So it's kind of like, and I don't know whether it's because, there are some people that like to be loud and they have to be heard. But I just find that it's nice to have an eclectic mix of things on the site instead of it being all, all about fan films or that sort of thing. I mean, there's some pretty good, if I do say so myself, stuff on the website. I mean, it's not just all about one type of genre. It's, there is mixes in there. It's, well, you know what it's like. I mean, Bill, for one, is just starting up a series about sci-fi, science, real-world science in Star Trek and vice versa and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Some of the guest authors and stuff have done things on sexuality within Star Trek. One just recently did a piece on Captain Archer and how, he was in Quantum Leap and stuff like that. So it's not just one genre. It's a genre in the fact that it's all Star Trek and stuff like that, but it's not just, a film dedicated to one series or one niche, which is, fan films and stuff like that. It's literally a case of, you might find something on there in a few months' time that you might not ever dream of finding on a Star Trek website, but it's all to do and all ties in with the franchise. It's not a case of, none of it's relevant.
So what's something that you're hoping to offer in the future to people that visit your website?
Between now and the 1st, we've got our YouTube channel launching. And that's going to be, again, an eclectic mix of things. On that YouTube channel, we're going to have a 3rd podcast launch. And that's going to be run by Jeff Lincoln. He's going to be doing reviews on audio dramas, among other things. There's going to be convention footage, which JP is going to be putting together when he goes to Vegas. Mm-hmm. We've got some interviews with people from Ticonderoga. It's literally just going to be a complete mix of things, but again, all related to Star Trek.
So what are the podcasts that you currently offer right now?
Well, we've got this one, which was the one that was the first to launch. Then we've got the Sci-Fi's Other Guys, which is going to be a mixture of all sci-fi genres, but there are going to be elements drawn back into Star Trek, because, again, Star Trek. And then this one, we have got a few names and a few ideas, but it's predominantly going to be reviews for audio dramas, because even though there's hundreds of audio dramas out there, no one seems to really focus on them, I find. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of people, fan film, but no one seems to really, shift the focus from the live action stuff to audio dramas. So when Jeff approached me with the idea, I was just like, yeah, that's, really good idea. Again, because it's catering to something that I'm not aware of. I could be wrong, and if, use the comments below, people, to tell me if I'm wrong or not. But yeah, it's something that I didn't really think of, is in terms of a steady stream of content, but it's a pretty good idea, I think. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, if it falls flat on its face, it falls flat on its face. I mean, everything's trial and error. I mean, it's the same when, you approached me to do this. I was a little bit podcasting, because whereas I can, and I do a lot of the stuff, back of house on the website and stuff like that, which takes a lot of my time, podcasting was never really something that I thought about. Mainly because I don't really get a lot of free time to sit and record, and even less time to edit things.
And I've been wanting to get you on here for since we began.
Yeah, which is just a prime example of how little free time I do get. Mm-hmm. I've got a list that's currently 2 and a bit pages long of stuff that I've got to do between now and the 1st, and I haven't. Pressure. Yeah. And some of it includes, editing stuff, and I just literally get no free time to do it.
So I'm looking at the website right now, and I see you have this segment called Truth or Myth. What can you tell me about that?
Well, that is done by David, and I cannot pronounce his surname for the love nor money, so I'm not even going to try. He came to me with an idea about, he was going to do it and stuff. Originally it was going to be a blog series, he was going to write a blog and that sort of thing, and then just Myron said you wanted to do it on YouTube video, and I was like, okay, well, this is kind of what kicked me off in the thinking of launching our own channel. I said to him, okay, well, how are you going to do that? Because I don't have a channel, that sort of thing. And he runs his own YouTube channel. He's got his own graphic design business and everything like that. And he's the one that did the feature images for the film reviews that Doug did.
What's it all about?
Well, basically, he's picking aspects of Star Trek. And, well, people are like, oh, Star Trek. Why do you like Star Trek? Because it's good.
I'm looking at the website again, and I see that you have this thing on become a guest author with Treksphere. So how do you become a guest author on Treksphere?
Well, you pretty much, if you wanted to, you just go to that page on the website and sign up, and it sends it through. You've got various topics. You can either do book reviews, events and conventions, fan film series review, favourite actor, Star Trek games, official film series reviews, and basically you can do anything else on Star Trek. I did a segment on LGBTQ in Trek. I was thinking, here we go. I'm going to get, either the it doesn't belong, or that sort of thing. And there was some good stuff. Yeah, there was like one or two in it that I was like, yeah, okay, no. But then for the most part, it was some good stuff that came through, especially where I had something on asexuality in Star Trek, and that was like touching on the races like the Janai and stuff like that from TNG. It's like I made a comment on something the other day. There was a couple of people on the Facebook page that weren't agreeing on something, and I just said, it was this. Star Trek is an amazing franchise. It makes people think, whether it's thinking for the good, thinking for the bad, whatever. But it inspires thought, inspires people to be different and not all think about the same thing, and that's what makes it so great. Everyone has difference of opinions, and 9 times out of 10, people don't tend to flame each other for that difference of opinion. And I say 9 times out of 10 because, again, you can go on one of the Star Trek groups and find a post about Discovery, and you can basically be in there, I just don't understand why it's got so much hate. I really don't.
Because it's something new, and people fear what's new.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe because they don't understand it, or they don't know what it is.
I mean, there's a quote that Kirk says in Undiscovered Country. People have always, people are afraid of change.
Yeah.
And I guess, in some respects it's true. People are scared of change.
It's challenging what they know, and they're afraid that they'll be, shown something differently than what they believe.
Star Trek's always been something that's, in my interpretation, something that's always shown people to think differently instead of being, one of the sheep that just follows the herd sort of thing. It's always taught me to think outside the box. It's instead of, if I read something in the news or whatever, I always think to myself, okay, well, it might be true, it might not be true.
Star Trek has a profound effect on people in many different ways, and that's the nice gift of Star Trek, that it keeps on giving, and it challenges our ideals, our opinions, what we value, what we think, and hopefully it makes us a better person.
Well, that's the ideal of it, yeah.
Is there anything else that you're going to do in the future with the website, like add to it besides this new podcast?
Nothing in the pipeline, and it's still fairly young. I mean, it's only just over a year old, and I'm still finding my own footing in how to do certain things. But the biggest thing for me was always not so much give myself a voice, because hey, who cares what I think? It was more along the lines of, I wanted to see, and whether the fans and people that are involved in the Star Trek universe wanted to find somewhere to have a say of how they think, and that's why I think the the team is as big as it is now. 14 of us, because everyone does their own little thing. But that's why as well, I get people interested in just writing the occasional guest article, blog, whatever, because whereas they don't want to host or run their own website, it gives them a chance to write about something they're passionate about, or review something they're passionate about. And for the most part, it's worked out well. A lot of people ask the question how I afford it. It's quite easy. It just comes out of my pocket. It costs. I don't make any money from doing this at all. I get a few kickbacks through things like I've got. If I sell something through the Star Trek shop, which is official stuff, I get like about $1 back per sale. So if someone buys something for like $30, I'll get like $1 or something back from it. But that's nothing, the grand scheme of things. I mean, and I'm not in it for money. I'm not in it for making bank off Trek.
You're doing this for the love of Star Trek and to give others a place where they can share their voice.
Yeah.
And that's really awesome. I think that gives your site, that gives Treksphere a unique voice among the giant ocean of other blogs and websites and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, there are people, you've got Trek Movie, amazing for hearing, up-to-date stuff on Star Trek. You've got Fan Film Factor, which caters for fan films only. And you've got Trek Zone. It's all one person's voice, or a few people's voices, or whatever. It's not a case of they don't cater to the general fans. It's, you've got Fan Film Factor, you've got Jonathan or whoever writing, and it's just him. Trek Zone, you've got Matt and Matt alone. And Trek Movie, obviously, they've got a few members of staff and stuff, but it's always, you don't hear anything from the fans. You don't hear their side, you don't hear their point of view, you don't, and that was, a lot of people are like, well, why do you want to launch another Trek website? Well, yes, it started off as a fan film site, but then fan films come few and far between. A fan film can be something that is either thrown out in a couple of months, or it can be a long process, from start to finish. And I found that things just started to get really... I was running out of things to do, to be honest with you. So I just thought to myself, okay, well, how do I expand? How do I, not expand in the sense of, create my own little empire or whatever, but as in, like, expand as in to open it up. And I just thought to myself, well, you don't really see any websites that involve other people as such, having their own individual opinions and voices, and that's pretty much what kind of made me rebrand and relaunch and expand. And in the space of what we now, probably about 18 months down the line, we've got two podcasts, team of 14, third podcast on the way, and a YouTube channel. I don't think I've done too badly, to be honest.
Well, thank you, James. Good luck with your continued endeavors with Treksphere, and Bill and I are happy to have our podcast on your site. And thank you for hosting us on there. We appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in to the Final Frontier podcast. You can catch us on iTunes, YouTube, and the Google Play Store. And you can catch James and become a guest author on Treksphere.com. Thank you, and good night.